Get him. Sit there and show it to the camera. Tell them who that is. That is
Swizzles.
Who is that?
Swizzles.
Swizzles. Swizzle. Swizzles.
Yeah.
Okay, we see him. Who's next?
What about Swizzle?
Say, everybody, this is Swizzle.
Everybody, this is Swizzle.
Now pick up the next one. Say, everybody, this is.
He don't know what to do. He said, I'm spontaneous. Y'all trying to script me.
Sure.
Maybe Ms. Cameron asked him questions. Maybe he can answer.
Who is that?
Ted.
Oh. Turn her towards the front. Make her face. There she goes.
And put it out of your face so we can see your face. We can't see Kobe.
Put it down just a little bit.
There you
we
go. All right, good
Wave,
job.
say hi.
So
All
who
right.
else you got?
All right, keep going. Put it down and show the next one.
Who is that?
Now this is.
This is Candle.
Show the
Candlehead. That's my favorite because she has a
Pull it
candle
down.
on her
You
head.
don't cover your face.
You see her candle?
Ooh.
Like a birthday cake candle.
Oh.
I like that one.
All right.
And who else do you have? How does it taste?
Just like a strawberry cake.
Oh,
like a
just
strawberry
like a
cake.
strawberry cake. And who else do you have?
Oh, one more. This is.
This is Penelope.
Go take it closer.
Penelope?
Oh,
Vanellope.
Vanellope, like vanilla.
Turn it
Oh,
around so the
vanilla.
camera can see.
And her card is made out of
Cookie.
cookies.
Just like chocolate chip cookies.
Just like chocolate chip cookies?
Mhm.
Those sounds very delicious.
Mr. Walter like peanut butter cookies.
I do like peanut butter cookies. So, all right, guys, I want to get started. You guys have been on the protocol now, Kelly, for
We're just about 3 weeks short of 2 years.
right,
Yeah, so.
and we are seeing a lot more language out of Kobe than even we saw 5 months ago.
Yes.
So even at 17 months, where he was very verbal, he's even more verbal now.
Yes. And it's more consistent. So every day he's full of language, has opinions on everything, and isn't really afraid to voice them. So he's holding conversation, speaking all day long. Pretty
Spontaneous speech.
much. Yeah. Oh yeah. All day long.
Asking questions.
Yeah, he's curious about everything. He wants to know everything. You know, and he'll ask me how I'm doing, how my day was. So.
What are we looking forward to see? What kind of improvements are we still waiting to see?
I guess just like you said, as close to typical as normal, or even so. Even now, people, if you don't tell them, they won't know that he was diagnosed with autism. A lot of people think, especially with him being in typical classes now, like it's besides he's a little bit shy, but like a lot of people can't even know. They don't even know academically he's right where he needs to be. Yeah, or even exceeding his academic goals and everything. So he's just getting prepared for kindergarten. So I guess just even being even more so, if possible, even more typical. That would be the goal. But every goal pretty much on the protocol throughout the 2 years that we have set, like in the other videos, he's pretty much reached them. Like I remember us sitting in front of the camera hoping that he would be potty trained, you know, so. And that seems so far back because he's so, like, he's come such a long way. So.
And the thing is, it's not even just, potty trained. You probably count the number of accidents, on one hand.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Rarely.
I mean, it was, never.
Well, before he wasn't.
I know he wasn't,
Oh,
but once
like
he got
last year.
potty trained,
Yeah.
there is, no accidents, anything like that. But I think part of it is it's not only just, it's a battle, and it's a war that you just have to keep fighting, because no matter what people think and what they see, a lot of times I say he, like 90% of the time or 95% of the time, everything is spot on, but there's still those times where that there is something going on. So people can say, all day, or you go to a party and he's with a group of a whole bunch of 4 or 5 year olds and he's, running around, and it's like, wait, he's the one with the diagnosis? Because he came up to us, one time just a few weeks ago, and one of his cousins that he sees from time to time, he has a lot of hair, so he had a ponytail. We had 2 ponytails, and he came up to us, well, is he a boy or a girl? And we said, well, that's a boy. That's your cousin, And then he said, well, does he talk? And it's the type of thing that nothing wrong with the kid, but just being shy. So we see, a lot of the things that it's getting more and more typical, but then you have those times where, we had just a couple weeks ago, with fireworks and everything. It was like, hey, those loud bangs and all that. He's like, oh, I don't like that. So then he didn't even want to come from upstairs to downstairs, or he would retire himself to bed. He was like, I'm tired, I think I'm gonna go upstairs, stuff like that.
Fireworks going on there.
Yeah, so you just know that there is stuff in there, and you can't be complacent, and
which can
that's why
still
it's
be
always
typical.
better.
Little kids don't like fireworks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where I've seen some autistic kids not flinch because they're not even aware of what's going on around them.
That's
So
true.
the fact that he can voice his opinion like, this ain't something I want to do, is saying something.
And then on vacation, he was, a little bit overwhelmed when we went to
Definitely overwhelmed.
Vegas. There was a lot going on and stuff like that. So we had some things where, like I said, mostly it was good, but you had some times to let like, okay, yeah, there is a lot of activity. There's a lot going on, a lot of noise and all that.
There's still some work to be done.
Still some work to be
So
done.
90% of the time, he's almost typical, and 10% of the times you can see that there's still some work to be done.
Yes.
So I believe that just as we have made progress over these nearly 2 years, he will continue to heal and he will become more indistinguishable. So with autism, we're looking at the deficits are language, behavior, and socialization. Those are the 3 main core issues. And he's made tremendous progress in all of those areas. Language, behavior, socialization. Now, is there anything that either the teacher or the ABA therapists have noticed about his change over the last couple of years? Or
I think for both, like towards the first half of preschool, like he still couldn't draw a picture or write his name or anything like that. And then like the what do you call it? The winter spring semester, he kind of like skyrocketed.
Yeah,
and
he did.
he was able to draw pictures, write his name, like
Cut circles.
do everything, every goal
Wow.
she had for
Every
him
goal
to
she
do.
set.
Yeah, he can cut out circles, triangles, like he can cut like zigzags, like all types of things.
Right. His
And so
name.
even with his ABA, it was kind of the same type of thing where she said several times, like, whatever you guys are doing, like, he's doing so good.
Yeah. She witnessed the not so good days too, but yeah.
Would you guys do things differently for a vacation if you were to go another time?
I would be more. I thought I was very, very prepared, but I didn't take into account the autism diagnosis because he's just been so typical acting these this last stretch and scoring high in school and everything. I didn't take into account that just going to the airport could cause a setback.
There's a lot
because
going on.
It's a lot for us, so
Right.
I didn't take that.
So he
I would be
read
more
y'all
aware.
energy into that too, probably.
He probably did. And
well,
so I
a
would
lot
be
of
more
times
aware.
with autism, you don't really get to see the deficits until you put the
In the
person in a
situation.
stressful environment.
Yeah.
So in his daily environment,
It's
he's
not
pretty
easy.
typical, but in a stressful environment, you can see
Yes.
that there's the work needs, and that's pretty common among all children with autism.
And he
You know.
did so well, but it brought back to us that, we
Yeah.
got some things we got to work on.
We need
here.
to keep going.
We forgot about it because we're so at home on the mark with everything. So putting him in the airport situation, and it's like 7 of us and luggage and checkout, then going through security, that just like
And then he
caused
threw
a
up on the plane.
meltdown situation. Like it
He peed on himself in the airport. He threw up on the plane. Like it was just a lot going on. It was-
Well, airports are stressful for anybody.
So we did get on the plane.
Did you have fun on the airplane?
Yes.
Yes.
He likes airplanes though. I probably likes.
One of the things I wanted to ask about, thinking back on some of the other videos we've made and some of his behaviors, at some point he was like wanted to see the same video over and over again, and he was a little anxious if someone would leave the room sometimes. So how is he doing in terms of that?
Still have a little bit.
Yeah, I would say it's still a little bit.
Yeah, we got about 10 more % of that to work on.
Okay, so
I don't know if it's
Not
not that he will watch the same video over and over. It's just like he's obsessed with like Wreck-It Ralph and Sugar Rush. So that's what everything
he likes.
Well, he'll watch other things on TV and stuff like that, but that's like his favorite thing. I don't know if it's hard to
but
tell
is
if
it
that's
like
just
he's
normal,
like,
childhood.
but with autism is more concentrated. It's like he wants to watch the same thing over and over, and if he doesn't, then he gets upset.
No,
Right.
He loves it. He just likes it a lot, and he'll watch different phases of the same show and watch him do different things with the same characters.
So to me, it's like the Wreck-It Ralph stuff is almost like being more typical. Because I think I told the story of a niece being over and trying to entertain her. And here, what do you want to do? Oh, I can put me on YouTube. I want to watch videos of people making slime. So she's watching like all these different ways people making slime. So with Wreck-It Ralph, for example, there's YouTube. He's looking at all the different videos. Some of it is gameplay of the game. Some of it is little clips from the movie or this or that and other. He's not watching the same thing over and over again. It's the same subject.
Right.
And then he'll switch gears and go do something else as well and things like that. Or if you tell him, hey, this is out of batteries, or you need to go do something else, or whatever, he's generally fine with that transition. He may ask you a couple questions. Okay, well, can I do that tomorrow? Okay, well, I'll do that tomorrow then. So I think it's not
as fixated.
It's not a fixation.
It's an interest, not
it's
a fixation.
An interest. That's kind of how I would put it.
Right.
Where before there was interest.
Yeah,
I gotta watch, Peppa Pig, or this, that, and other.
No, what I noticed is that I could steer conversation away from whatever he was trying to do. Sometimes that stuff is purposeful for me to be able to show that, yes, he was telling me about those cars, but I wanted to know about the other race cars, and y'all was like, well, he talked about those cars just as much. He was able to, I could redirect him to do something because he had an interest in talking to me, which is different than before. It's like, no, this is what I'm talking about.
Right, that's all we got.
Forget what you did. Forget what you try to do. This is what I'm talking about. So I found that interesting. And his vocabulary, oh my goodness. His ability to understand it and his output of it is just impressive.
Well, and the thing is, that's very important, because the thing that everybody have to remember, we're 2 years in. I think if you go back to the beginning, when Kobe could say things, but if you asked him a question, do you want something to eat? The answer was, do you want something to eat? So he would repeat what it was we were saying. We didn't have the understanding. And one of the things that I wanted was for him to just be able to communicate and advocate for himself and things like that. Well, the little boy is bossy, and he definitely knows how to advocate, for himself, and there's an understanding. And this is stuff that, even from the first 30 days on the protocol, we saw a difference, right from the beginning with that. So sometimes, to think back to where we started, and
to where he is.
Yeah, it hasn't been 100% of a
There's been a lot of ups and downs.
The first part of the year was a little bit rocky.
And we're still tweaking the protocol. We're introducing even 2 new things today, and you guys are almost 2 years into it. So there's a lot of trial and error in this. And I know at some point he had a really rough time in one of the down patches when he actually lost speech as we were changing things on the protocol.
Yeah, and that was an interesting one, because at least for us, it was a little bit scary as well. But then it's
describe what happened, because nobody knows about this.
So with Kobe, it just was a crazy thing that he could be, talking, at 4 o'clock, like he has a master's degree, he'd go to sleep, take a nap, and then wake up at 8, 9 o'clock at night, can't talk. And, would basically start doing stuff like, before we were having issues, even before we started, we would do things like teach him some sign language and things like that, and he would start, doing that stuff. And it's like, wow, he like literally can't talk and can't communicate. But then sometimes we put him in a clay bath and he popped back out of it. And I think there was even one time where he was sitting in the clay bath and he was like, "Gee, Daddy, the clay bath made me talk." Yeah. So he was aware that there was something going on that was giving him some difficulty, that type of a thing. And then it became, a series where there were some times that he'd go to sleep and wake up in the morning without the language, and we'd have to kind of give him some stuff and get it going, and it would be that, I'd be calling every day, "Is Kobe talking yet?" That type of a thing. And because the fear was, hey, we got to send him to school and things like that. And he would go. I think he has a great will when he's in school and around the other kids to do what they're doing and things like that. So some days the teacher, it's a little more quiet and things like that. But I think he'd figure out how to, pull it together.
He pushed himself.
And then sometimes it was, whispering. Or baby talk.
Yeah.
So we just saw all kinds of things.
So you saw, in other words, you saw a tremendous amount of regression from where he was to what he was capable of at some point, and then he lost many capabilities.
But it was like a ping pong ball within one day.
To see so,
what
right.
I was saying, you would see, full language talking all that, and then it would,
But eventually we found out, we made some changes on the protocol, and that's not an issue anymore. So I think that's
for months. I mean, he's been, like 100% solid on that for months.
Right. So I mean, that's the thing that, I think it's important for new people or people that's interested to know that this is not an easy process, even though, it's been 2 years. You've had ups and downs, so you've had tremendous progress and you've had a tremendous setback.
Yeah.
And but overall, he's in a tremendously different place than where we started.
What made you?
And have to have some kind of fortitude, to say we're gonna push through whatever there's negative, because we can't guarantee that it's gonna be all progress.
What made you push through it? I mean, what was it? I mean, I can only imagine what that would be like. My child wake up in the morning, have language at some point during the day, he take a nap. He wake up, he has no language. So what made you say,
I'm gonna keep going?
I'm gonna keep going.
Well, really, answer it for me. I mean, it was like no choice. We know
what he's capable of.
What he's capable of, and then we saw, damn, something kind of creeped in. But because it was windshield wiper like, it wasn't. I think at most maybe it was a day or something without language, that type of thing. But we saw it come back, leave, come back. So. We knew that it was something that just that nut needed to be.
Because it's like it was kind of just like trying to knowing what he was capable of, but like being able to figure out like okay, what's going on. It wasn't really something that you could just ignore at that point. So we knew we would eventually find a way to figure out what was going on, right? Break through and find out what was going on.
So we know it's a marathon, and it's.
For him too, because it was complicated for him to.
Yeah,
because he would get frustrated and shit.
Yeah, he was very frustrated.
Very
when he knows he can't, like he just can't talk, and he doesn't know why.
It's sad to watch your kid go.
But then to do something as simple as a clay bath and see it come back.
And he would be so happy.
He would be so happy. So our fortitude just is like in it for the long haul. It's like we know this works. We just gotta tweak it, and each kid's different. So ours is going through this. So okay.
And Kobe's very reactive. He reacts.
Kobe is very reactive. I can remember on day one when we gave him the green drink. The first day we came over, I saw a change in him on that day.
Yes.
That is incredible. I mean, it's hard to see that type of. It's not common to see that type of reaction on the first day. So we knew from day one that Kobe had an incredible ability to respond. He's what's called a responder, like our kid. Dakhari was a responder like that as well.
So are you ready for kindergarten, Kobe?
Kobe, she's talking to you. Turn around. One more time.
Are you ready for kindergarten? Do you think you're gonna have fun?
You
Are
gotta
you gonna make any friends?
Oh,
Right.
you gotta speak now.
Yes.
Come turn around and talk to her. Use your
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many friends would you like to have?
Oh.
two friends.
He said
That's
10.
Oh,
10?
10?
Oh,
Kobe,
boy.
you talked about on a different video that you had a couple friends at school that were girls. I don't remember.
Tell Mr. Walker what's their names. From preschool, your friends from preschool. Tell him their names. Heatherly. Turn around and tell Mr. Walker their names. What was your friends' names at Heatherly?
Emma.
Emma.
And who else? And who else?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah?
Oh,
Oh,
Are
okay.
they going to the same kindergarten? Or you guys?
One
You
of them
think
is-
Aaliyah is going to the same
Oh
kindergarten?
boy.
Kobe? She's coming to your new school?
Oh, also, Kobe, you said, how did you describe her? What does she look like? You can tell me. Is she pretty?
How did Aaliyah look?
She's pretty? You gotta tell the camera. How was she?
Princess.
Tell Mr. Walker. She look like what?
Princess.
She looked like a princess.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is special.
I think she's cute too.
She's
Is she nice? Does she share?
I heard she was a little bossy. You
What?
like that?
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bouncy.
Yeah.
She go like this.
She a little,
Oh, a little
bouncy.
bouncy.
That's what he-
Probably was.
That too.
Okay, like we do every time, guys, would you recommend the protocol?
Yes, definitely. The sooner you can get your child
The
on
better.
the product, the better.
Right. Okay, so,
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
yes, I can't believe it's already been
Results are
2
worth
years.
it.
Yeah.
It's nothing like having your child come back to you through the means that you guys provide.
How is your mental health as it relates to
Kobe being better.
Kobe being better?
Oh,
You said mental health.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah.
It makes me feel good because
yes.
it just kind of. I mean, I guess it's scary when you first get the diagnosis and you're like, so what does this mean for him? Like for his future? Like what's he gonna be capable of? What is he gonna not be able to do? So to see the amount of progress that he's made in 2 years is it's just amazing. So it just feels really good and gives you hope.
There's
his
hope.
future,
There's
yeah.
hope for all of the kids out there.
All right, that's a good note to end on. We will
Bye,
see you guys
Kobe.
later. Say bye, Kobe. You gotta say bye.
Bye.